I leaned back in my chair, staring at the ceiling, and whispered, 15 years. 15 years of this. Of what? Lily's voice floated from the kitchen, light and teasing as usual. Of us, I said. I can't believe. It's been that long, she laughed, soft and melodic, but I caught the faint edge of distraction. Time flies, doesn't it? The kids grow up, bills pile up, and suddenly, 15 years. I smiled, trying to shake the unease creeping up my spine. Yeah. Feels like yesterday you were complaining about our tiny apartment. You mean our cozy little nest? She corrected with a playful grin. Tiny sounds sad. I laughed, but it felt hollow. There was something in her eyes, something quick, fleeting, but sharp enough to poke at me. Cozy. Right. Cozy. From the corner, Max, our 10-year-old, peeked from behind his homework. Dad, can we get ice cream later? Sure, buddy, I said, ruffling his hair, but finish your math first. Ella, our 8-year-old, danced past me with a grin. Don't forget me. Never, I said, smiling genuinely this time. Kids were always grounding, reminding me of why I loved this life. Later, in the living room, I caught Lily texting. Quick glances, fast replies. My stomach tightened, but I pushed it aside. Work stuff? I asked casually. She looked up, bright smile plastered on. Oh, just some friends. Nothing serious. I nodded, though my gut said otherwise. Friends, huh? Yeah, she said, laughing lightly. You worry too much sometimes. Tom called just then. Hey, man, lunch today? Can't, Tom, I said, glancing at Lily. Family stuff, you know. Sure, he laughed. Don't let the domestic bliss crush you. Or does it feel like bliss? Feels normal, I said, forcing the word. Pretty damn normal. After he hung up, I sat alone, the quiet of the house pressing against me. I tried to focus on work, emails, spreadsheets, but every ping on my phone made me flinch. I wondered why I couldn't shake this feeling. Lily called from the kitchen. Dinner's almost ready. I got up, walking over. She smiled, chopping vegetables with practiced ease. I studied her face, memorizing the laugh lines, the warmth in her eyes. She looked perfect. Everything okay? I asked. Everything's fine, she said, voice soft but firm. Why do you ask? I shook my head, forcing a smile. Just checking. We ate, the kids chatting about school projects and soccer games. I tried to engage, tried to laugh, but my mind kept returning to the fleeting moments of distraction I had noticed. The late-night texts, the occasional silence during dinner, the way she sometimes stared out the window as if waiting for something. Or someone. After putting the kids to bed, Lily flopped onto the couch beside me. You've been quiet tonight. Just tired, I said. Long day. She murmured, resting her head on my shoulder. You know I love you, right? No, I whispered, hugging her. I love you too. Her phone buzzed. She glanced at it, a smile flashing briefly before she tucked it away. My eyes caught it, just for a second, but long enough. A notification from an unfamiliar app. Tinder? I froze, heart thudding. Lily. What was that? Nothing. Just some spam, she said quickly, too quickly. Her hand trembled, slightly. Spam, huh? I said slowly, trying to keep my voice calm. Seems weird. It's nothing, she said, brushing it off. Go watch the game, I'll clean up. I nodded, but the seed of doubt had taken root. 15 years of trust, of shared life, suddenly felt fragile. I laughed nervously, trying to shake it. Yeah, the game. Sitting there, alone in the living room, I realized how little I knew about her lately. The little signs I had ignored, texts, secretive smiles, sudden moods, they weren't just quirks anymore. Something was off. Something was coming. I couldn't know it yet, not fully. But that single notification, it felt like the calm before a storm. And storms, I knew, could tear everything apart. HP2I paced the living room, gripping my phone so hard I thought I might snap it. My hands were shaking. Lily, we need to talk. Now. She looked up from the couch, calm, almost annoyingly. So, talk about what? You know what? I snapped. I saw the notification. Don't lie to me. Her eyes flickered, and for a moment, I thought I imagined it. Then she sighed, long and heavy. Okay, yes, I've been seeing someone. I froze. The words hit me like a punch to the gut. Someone? Lily? How long? Months, she admitted. I didn't mean for it to happen. I felt stuck. Stuck? I laughed, a bitter sound that made my chest ache. Stuck? 15 years of marriage and you're stuck? I didn't mean to hurt you, she said, voice rising. I just needed excitement, something different. I clenched my fists. Excitement. Do you know what this does to me, to us, to the kids? They'll understand eventually, she said, almost coldly. I'm not happy and I can't pretend anymore. I shook my head, pacing again. You're leaving me for him? For Mark? She flinched, like I had said the name aloud for the first time. Yes, for Mark. I slammed my hand against the wall. Mark! Who is he? Some guy from work? Some random fling? From Tinder, she said quietly, eyes avoiding mine. I met him online. It was exciting, new, fun. You know, what we've lost. I laughed through my anger, bitter and sharp. Fun? Exciting? Lily, we have kids. We built a life. Together. And you throw it all away for a few dates and late-night texts? I didn't throw it away, she yelled. I tried. I really did. Try? What were you trying for? To ruin my life? I asked, my voice trembling. To ruin everything I worked for? Her face softened for a moment, and I thought maybe there was guilt, maybe regret. I didn't plan it this way. I needed to feel alive again. Alive? You think I don't feel alive? I've been giving everything to this. Family, I shouted. Do you have any idea how much I sacrificed, Lily? How much I loved you? I know, she said, tears forming in her eyes. I know you loved me. That's why I feel so guilty. But I can't stay. I sank into the couch, head in my hands. You're leaving me. Leaving us. For him? Yes, she whispered. I'm sorry. I thought of all the nights I stayed up, comforting her when she was sick, all the birthdays, the anniversaries, the tiny notes I left in her purse, all of it meaningless. So, what now? Do you just pack your things and disappear? Not yet, she said softly. I wanted to tell you first. I wanted honesty, at least that. I felt something cold settle in my chest. Honesty, I repeated. After months of lying, after sneaking around behind my back, that's your honesty? I didn't lie about my feelings, she said, voice breaking. I couldn't help who I fell for. I laughed, bitterly again. Fell for him? Lily, I raised our kids, I built this life, and you fell for someone else online? I didn't plan it, she said, shouting now. I didn't plan to leave you. I didn't plan to feel this way. I needed more than what we had. I clenched my teeth, the anger and heartbreak mixing into something raw and uncontrollable. Mark, I want to hear about him. Who is he, really? Her lips trembled. He's young. He's fun. He doesn't take life too seriously. He's exciting. I feel alive with him. I laughed again, hollow. Alive. That's your excuse. I gave you 15 years, Lily. 15 years of me giving everything to you and this family, and he makes you feel alive? I'm not asking for your forgiveness, she said quietly. I know you won't give it. I'm just telling you. I wanted to scream, to break something, to make her feel the pain she caused, but instead I felt numb. So, what now? Do I just let this happen? You'll have to figure that out, she said, voice almost trembling now. I can't stay. I'm sorry. I paced again, fists clenched, thoughts spinning. My phone rang. It was Tom. Hey man, you okay? He asked, voice casual but concerned. Not really, I said, my voice cracking. Lily, she's... I don't know, Tom. I don't know what to do. Breathe, he said. Slow down. Talk to her calmly. Don't do anything stupid. Calmly? I laughed bitterly. Tom, she's leaving me. For some guy. She met on Tinder. Calmly? I know it's bad, he said. But whatever you do, don't make it worse for yourself. Don't lash out. Just think. Strategize. You're stronger than you think. I hung up, staring at the wall. The sound of Lily cleaning in the kitchen echoing in the silence. I felt broken, betrayed, furious, and helpless all at once. Every memory I had of her, every moment of trust, felt like it had been a lie. Later that night, I called a few friends, careful who I told. Some cried with me, some shook their heads in disbelief, and a few, well, they just quietly judged her. Can't believe she'd do that after 15 years, one friend muttered. I know, I whispered to myself. I know. I sat alone, staring at the ceiling, trying to make sense of it. Trying to figure out how someone I loved, someone I trusted completely, could just leave me for him. Mark. That name echoed in my mind. Young, shallow, exciting. Everything I wasn't. I didn't even know where to start. I didn't know if I wanted to confront him, fight him, or just disappear myself. But one thing was certain. My life had changed forever, and there was no going back. I woke up to silence, the kind that feels heavier than any sound. My phone buzzed, a message from Lily. Don't wait up. I didn't reply. I didn't even look at it. I couldn't. Later, Max appeared at my bedroom door, rubbing his eyes. Dad, are you mad at Mom? I forced a smile, weak and hollow. No, buddy, not mad, just tired. You're always tired, he muttered, shuffling back to the kitchen. Ella peeked around the corner, too. Dad, you haven't smiled all morning. Are you sick? Not sick, I said. Just thinking. You're thinking about Mom? She asked softly. I hesitated. Yeah, a little. She tilted her head. Don't be sad. Mom still loves you, right? I choked on the words. I don't know, sweetheart. Later, I called Tom. Hey, man, I can't stop thinking about it. I feel broken. Yeah, I know, man, he said gently. But you can't let this crush you. You've got to breathe, take one step at a time. I don't know if I can, I admitted. Every memory, every moment we had, feels like a lie. Maybe some of it wasn't, he said. But right now, focus on you. Don't drown yourself in anger yet. I don't even know what I feel, I said. Anger, sadness, humiliation, all at once. You're allowed to feel all of it, he said calmly. Just don't do anything stupid. I hung up, staring at the ceiling, the walls of my apartment suddenly suffocating. I thought about Lily laughing last week, her phone buzzing, those fleeting glances. The subtle distance I ignored. Why didn't I see it? I muttered aloud. The phone rang. It was my therapist. Hey, I said, voice rough. Hey, she replied. How are you holding up? I laughed bitterly. Holding up? Not sure I even know what that means anymore. Try talking it out, she suggested. Don't bottle it. What's happening inside is okay, but you need to process it. I feel betrayed, I said. 15 years. Gone. And for what? Some guy she met online. It's not about him, she said softly. It's about her choices, your marriage, the life you built together. How do you want to respond? I don't know, I admitted. I can't forgive her yet. I can't not feel rage. And begging? Forget it. I can't lower myself like that. Then focus on clarity, she said. Observe. Think. Protect yourself. Your children. Your life. I hung up, pacing again. The kids appeared, sensing my tension. Dad? Max said, voice small. I know, buddy, I said, crouching to meet his eyes. I'm okay, just dealing with grown-up stuff. You sound sad, Ella whispered. I am sad, I admitted. But I promise, I'll be okay. They nodded, a little unsure, then went back to their homework. I watched them, heart twisting. I didn't want them to feel my pain, but I couldn't hide it entirely. I went online, searching for Mark. His social media profiles were flashy, full of partying and selfies. I scrolled, stomach twisting. Is this who she left me? For, I muttered. Really? A message popped up from a mutual friend. Hey, heard the news. Rough. Don't take it too hard. Thanks, I typed back, though the words felt hollow. I called Tom again. I looked him up. He's immature, man. Totally reckless. I can't believe she chose him. Yeah, he said. But that might work in your favor later. Don't act on it yet, just observe. I paced the apartment, running a hand through my hair. Every memory of Lily flashed in my mind. Her smile when I surprised her on our anniversary, the time she stayed up with me when I was sick. And now, apparently, meaningless. I remembered the notification again. That Tinder ping. That small, seemingly insignificant thing had shattered everything. I called my therapist again. I keep thinking about what I did wrong. Why didn't I notice sooner? You didn't do anything wrong, she said. People change, decisions are made, you can't blame yourself. I can't not blame myself, I said. I trusted her. I gave her everything. And you still do, she said softly. Even in this pain, you care. That's human. But don't lose yourself. That's what matters. I nodded, even though she couldn't see me. I feel so lost, so stupid. You're not, she said. You're processing. Let yourself feel it, but don't spiral. Keep your focus, your kids, yourself. I hung up again, staring at the floor. I felt trapped between rage and sorrow, unable to decide if I wanted to fight, escape, or just vanish entirely. That night, the apartment felt empty. I called Lily, though I knew I shouldn't. Hi, I said, voice shaking. Hi, she said softly. Are you happy? I asked, my voice barely a whisper. I think so, she said. I needed this. I closed my eyes, heart breaking. You needed him? I didn't mean to hurt you, she said. I needed to feel alive. I hung up. My chest burned. Rage, heartbreak, and disbelief swirled into something dark and heavy. But buried inside it was a flicker of clarity. Mark's reckless posts, Lily's inconsistencies, the half-truths she told me. They were seeds. Seeds I could watch grow. Seeds that might one day return the justice I felt I deserved. I paced, again gripping the phone, staring at the darkened screen. I didn't know what the next step was, but one thing I realized, I couldn't stay broken forever, not for my kids, not for myself. And so, amid the despair, I started paying attention. Watching, waiting, planning, the storm had hit. I was drowning in it, but maybe, just maybe, I could learn to swim. I stared at the office ceiling, rubbing my temples. I can't sit here feeling sorry for myself forever, I muttered. Tom's voice came through the phone. Good, that's step one, admitting you're alive. What's next? I don't know, I said, pacing my apartment. I can't let her or Mark control my head, not anymore, but I don't want to act rashly either. Then don't, he said. Observe, gather intel. Patience, man. You've got this. I exhaled, feeling some of the heaviness lift. I'll try, but how do I even start? Start with small wins, he suggested. Your work, your finances, your health. Regain control over what's yours. I suppose, I said, sitting down at my laptop. Okay, I can do that. Work first, money second, revenge. Maybe later. Later that day, Anna, my colleague, dropped by my office. You okay? She asked casually, glancing at the dark circles under my eyes. I'm surviving, I said, forcing a smile. Why do you ask? Rumors travel fast, she said, sitting down. People are talking about, well, you know, that Lily situation. Yeah, I muttered. People do like to talk. I heard about Mark, she said softly. Word is he's reckless, not reliable, could be trouble for her. I leaned back, heart racing. Reckless how? She throws parties, disappears, for days spends money carelessly. Some of the friends she met through him are not the kind you want around your family, she said cautiously. I nodded, a small, dark thought forming. Interesting. So maybe I don't need to rush things. Karma might catch up on its own. Maybe, she said, eyes flicking to mine. Just be careful, okay? Don't let your anger get the better of you. I appreciate that, I said. I'm not planning anything yet. That evening, I called Tom again. Anna says, Mark's reckless, I said, pacing. Maybe I don't have to do anything. Maybe things will fall apart for them naturally. Could happen, Tom said. But don't underestimate the urge to intervene. You need to decide. Do you want to humiliate them publicly or let life handle it? I don't know, I admitted. Part of me wants to see him fall. Part of me just wants to watch quietly, make sure justice unfolds, but not my hands dirty. Both are valid, Tom said. But remember, you're still a father, a professional. Don't let revenge ruin that. I ran a hand through my hair. I know, I just can't let her get away with it either. Not the way she hurt me. You won't, he said calmly. Not if you play it smart. The next morning, I focused on work, deadlines, meetings, emails. I threw myself into everything. The distraction helped, but my mind kept wandering. I kept replaying conversations with Lily, imagining scenarios where Mark made mistakes, imagining cracks forming in their perfect little fantasy. Hey, Anna said, leaning on my desk. Need help with that report? Sure, I said, grateful. We worked side by side, talking quietly. You said he's reckless. Any proof? I've heard stories, she said, lowering her voice. He crashed a rental car last month, disappeared during a business trip, overspent on things he couldn't afford, and he brags about it. I smiled faintly, a dark glimmer forming in my chest. Bragging, huh? Good. That helps me. Anna raised an eyebrow. Helps you how? Let's just say, information is power, I said. She nodded slowly. Careful, though. Don't let this obsession take over. I won't, I said. Though the truth was, I already felt it creeping, and that night I called Tom. Anna gave me more details about Mark. He's careless, arrogant, all ego. Perfect setup if things go the way I hope. Don't get ahead of yourself, Tom warned. Patience. Watch, wait, learn. Don't act yet. I know, I said. But just imagining him getting exposed, making mistakes, it feels satisfying. Good. Channel that energy, Tom said. Keep building your life while the universe handles the rest. I hung up, staring at the ceiling again. My phone buzzed. A message from Lily. Busy tonight. Don't wait for me, I didn't reply. Instead, I thought about Mark, about their reckless, fleeting happiness, about how fragile it already seemed. I poured myself a glass of whiskey. Just one. For focus. For clarity. You can't rush karma, I muttered. But you can prepare. I made a list in my notebook. Observation, patience, gathering information, strengthening my finances, protecting the kids, building my career. Every line was a step away from despair, a step toward control. I heard a knock at my door. Ella peeked in. Dad, are you okay? I'm okay, Pumpkin, I said, smiling faintly. Just working. You sound serious, she said, tilting her head. Serious, I admitted. Sometimes adults have to be serious. She nodded, then scampered off. I sat back down, looking at the notes I'd written. Each point a small victory. Each small victory a reminder. I was not defeated. Not yet. Later, Tom called again. Feeling stronger? Yeah, I said. Better, focused. I can see a path forward now. That's good, he said. Just don't forget. Patience is key. Don't let anger cloud your judgment. I won't, I said, but I also won't ignore what's coming. We ended the call. I leaned back, thinking about Lily, about Mark, about the chaos they had brought into my life. The anger was still there, simmering under the surface, but now it had direction, purpose, strategy. And for the first time in weeks, I felt like I was no longer a victim. I was a player, watching, waiting, planning. The first moves were quiet, subtle. No rash actions, no screaming confrontations, just a slow reclaiming of my life. And if Mark or Lily stumbled along the way, well, I'd be ready, because this wasn't just about heartbreak anymore. It was about control, about justice, about making sure that the recklessness they had brought into my life came back to them in ways they didn't expect. And I would be there, watching it unfold, calm, calculated, unstoppable. I watched silently from across the cafe, sipping my coffee, pretending to read emails on my laptop. Mark sat at a corner table with Lily, laughing too loudly, throwing his arm around her shoulder. The arrogance on his face was unmistakable. So much bravado, so little substance, I muttered under my breath. You're asking for it, Mark. Keep showing who you really are. Tom's voice buzzed in my ear. You watching him again? Yeah, I admitted. It's satisfying in a quiet way. Careful, he said. Don't get caught staring like a psycho. I won't, I said, smirking. Just observing, learning. I focused on Mark. He checked his phone, laughing at some message. Then, without thinking, he leaned across the table and took Lily's dessert before she could say anything. She froze, confused. Mark, she said. I was going to eat that. Relax, he said, shrugging. It's dessert. Share it. I snorted quietly, but it wasn't just about dessert. It was the carelessness, the lack of respect. Every small act, a tiny fracture forming in their bubble of bliss. Later, Lily's phone buzzed. She glanced at it, biting her lip. It's work, she muttered. I don't know if I buy that, I whispered to myself. A week later, I met Tom for lunch. He's already slipping, I said. Saw him leave the office building last Friday with, I think, a client's expense card. What? You're kidding, Tom said. Nope. Reckless, arrogant, careless, I said. Exactly what Anna warned me about. And Lily? Tom asked cautiously. She's noticing cracks, but she won't. Admit it, I said. She's defensive, covering for him, trying to convince herself she made the right choice. It's pathetic to watch, honestly. Patience, Tom said again. Let karma unfold naturally. Don't push her to admit anything, just watch and wait. I nodded. I could almost feel the shift. The universe was doing its work. but I had to stay poised, calm, untouchable in public, while secretly enjoying the unraveling. One evening, I ran into a mutual acquaintance, Sarah, at a bookstore. "Hey, did you hear about Mark?" she asked, lowering her voice. "What about him?" I said casually, pretending to browse a shelf. "She crashed her rental car last weekend." "With him. Insurance is a mess, and apparently he lied about it to Lily," she whispered. I smiled faintly. "Really? That's enlightening." "Yeah," she said. "And people are talking. Seems like he's not as perfect as everyone thinks." "Funny how things work out," I murmured. That night, Lily called. I can't stop thinking about you," she admitted quietly. I leaned back in my chair listening. "Lily, I hesitated. Part of me wanted to lash out. Part of me wanted to comfort her, but I kept my voice calm. "I know, but you need to focus on yourself right now." "I made a mistake," she whispered. I shouldn't have left, but I can't admit it to Mark. He's controlling." I remained silent for a moment, letting her stew in her own guilt. "Sometimes," I said slowly, "people need to learn the hard way." She sighed. "I feel trapped. I can't. Tell him, I can't go back, and I hate myself for it." "I understand," I said, voice level. "Just be careful. Don't make it worse." "I know," she said, hanging up. I stared at the phone, a strange satisfaction twisting inside me. Karma was moving, slowly but surely, and I was witnessing it, quietly, without interfering. Yet. A few days later, I attended a company event. Lily and Mark were there. He was loud, showing off to colleagues, spilling drinks, bragging about his weekend adventures. I leaned toward Tom. "Watch him," I whispered. "He's going to make a mistake." "Patience," Tom reminded me. "You're here to observe, nothing else." Sure enough, Mark knocked over a wine glass, splattering red across a colleague's white dress. "Oops," he laughed, trying to charm his way out of it. The woman glared at him. "Unbelievable," she said, storming off. I suppressed a grin, small cracks forming, one by one. Later, Lily whispered to me from across the room. I don't know what to do. I didn't think he'd be like this." "Maybe that's why some things can't last," I said quietly. "I feel guilty," she admitted. "For leaving. For everything." "Guilt is natural," I said, calm but firm. "It's how people learn. But don't let it ruin you entirely. You made choices. You live with them." I wish I had realized sooner," she whispered, eyes downcast. I didn't say anything. No comfort, no reassurance, just silence. Observing, waiting, letting her regret simmer while I remained untouchable. Later, Mark tripped over the edge of the stage during a presentation, stumbling into a display of products. Everyone gasped. He tried to laugh it off, but the embarrassment was unmistakable. I whispered to myself, "Perfect. Keep going." I called Tom later that night. "He's falling apart," I said, voice almost calm, though inside I was thrilled. See," Tom said. "Remember, don't interfere. Let it unfold naturally. Your satisfaction is in watching, not acting." "I know," I said, "but it's intoxicating. Seeing him lose control, seeing her realize she chose poorly." "Be careful," Tom warned. "Enjoy it quietly. Don't let it cloud your judgment." "I won't," I said. I can't stop noticing. The cracks are everywhere now. His arrogance, his recklessness, her hesitation, her guilt. "Good," Tom said. "That's all you need. Observation, patience, control." That week, gossip circulated about Mark's mismanagement at work, his reckless spending, and the accident. People whispered behind their backs. I heard some of it firsthand, friends and colleagues tipping me off. I smiled faintly, taking it in, karma in motion. Slowly, perfectly, inevitable. Lily didn't reach out to me again, not directly, but she was different. Nervous, hesitant, caught in a bubble she couldn't control. I stayed calm in public, pretending nothing was happening, but every detail, every mistake, every crack in their armor, I noticed it, and I let it build. Because revenge didn't need to be immediate. It didn't need fireworks or confrontation. It needed patience, calculation, and observation. And as I watched quietly, my chest lightened just a little. Not because I was happy she was in pain, but because justice in its quiet, slow form was finally unfolding. And I would be there to see every moment, every crack, every mistake, every regret, every piece falling perfectly into place. I walked into the restaurant, calm, collected, a glass of water in hand. Lily and Mark were already seated at the corner table, laughing loudly. Their bubble of false confidence was about to burst. I approached, keeping my tone neutral. "Lily, Mark, we need to talk," Mark smirked. "Sure, what's up? Did you finally realize you're still bitter?" "I'm not here to argue," I said, sliding into the seat across from them. "I'm here to clarify some truths." Lily's eyes widened. "What truths?" "The ones you've been hiding," I said evenly. "Mark, I've been hearing stories, car accidents, reckless spending, lies about work. You think your charm covers it all, but people see through it." He laughed nervously. "Stories? Come on, man, who told you?" "Mutual acquaintances," I interrupted. "Enough to show me the real you. And Lily." I looked at her, calm, but piercing. "Your choices have consequences, whether you admit it or not." Her face paled. I didn't." "You did," I said softly. "You left 15 years of marriage for him, and now, here we are. Everyone you know has noticed the cracks, and it's not just private gossip anymore." Mark shifted uncomfortably. "Look, I didn't mean to." "You didn't mean to," I echoed. "You lied. You cheated in behavior, if not in legality. You were reckless, irresponsible, and arrogant, and Lily defended you every step of the way. But the truth always comes out." The waiter paused nearby, sensing the tension. I ignored him, focusing on their faces. Lily bit her lip. I didn't know it would. I didn't think. Didn't think?" I repeated, voice steady. 15 years of life, love, trust, and you didn't think? You acted impulsively, without regard for anyone else, including yourself, and now you're seeing the consequences." Mark's smirk faltered. "Consequences? Come on, we're fine. People talk because you're reckless," I said, cutting him off. "Your arrogance is exposed. Everyone here sees it. Your charm doesn't fix mistakes." Lily's hands trembled. I'm sorry. I really am. Sorry doesn't undo the hurt," I said quietly, but the weight behind it made them both flinch. "It doesn't erase the humiliation, the lies, or the betrayal. And Mark, your public persona is crumbling because your actions finally match reality." He looked around, realizing some colleagues were glancing over, sensing the tension. I don't know what to say." "You don't need to say anything," I said, voice even. "The truth speaks for itself." Lily's voice cracked. I made a mistake. I see that now. I can't go back, but please, you can't undo it," I said. "And I'm not here to punish you personally. I'm here to witness truth. And the truth is, actions have consequences, and this is yours." Mark's face reddened. You're making this public?" "I'm making it clear," I said. "Not out of revenge, but because reality doesn't hide behind illusions. You two lived in a bubble. That bubble is gone." Lily's hands were shaking now. "I didn't think anyone would see. I didn't think." "But everyone did," I said softly. Everyone saw the cracks, the lies, the carelessness, and now you're forced to face them. That's justice, quiet and inevitable. Mark leaned back, defensive. This isn't fair. You can't. Fair? I echoed. Fair would have been honesty from the start, respect, loyalty. None of that existed. And now, here we are. Karma doesn't wait for permission. Lily whispered, almost to herself. I wish I hadn't left. I wish I had thought about us, about the kids, about you. I kept my expression calm, though inside my chest was tight with emotion. Wishing doesn't change the past, I said gently. It only teaches lessons. I hope you learn yours and that it shapes the rest of your life better than it did these months. Mark's arrogance crumbled further. You're smiling through this? I'm composed, I said. Not for you, but for me, for my children, for my life. Losing control isn't my choice. Observing reality, accepting truth, and staying. Steady, that is. Lily's eyes glistened. Is there a way? No, I said firmly. Not now. Not ever in this form. What happened can't be undone. What you did can't be reversed with words. Apologies are not currency here. Reflection is. Mark looked at me, broken. No more smirks, no more bravado. I messed up. Yes, I said quietly. And the world is showing it to you, in ways you can't hide from. Lily's voice trembled. Please, can we talk later? Privately? I need you to understand. I understand, I said, voice level but resolute. I understand betrayal, regret, and mistakes. I also understand limits. I've spent weeks watching, learning, healing. This confrontation isn't about humiliation. It's about clarity. She pressed her hands to her face, whispering, I don't know. I leaned back, taking a deep breath. Then stay quiet for now. Reflect. Face reality. And know that I will no longer be part of this chaos. Mark swallowed hard. You're not angry? I was, I admitted, but anger doesn't serve me anymore. Observation, patience, composure, that serves me. And now you two see the consequences of your choices clearly. Lily's eyes filled with tears. I never thought it would hurt like this. I know, I said, calm, steady. I know. But feeling it, facing it, learning from it, that's your responsibility, not mine. The restaurant felt still. Colleagues and friends glanced our way, sensing the tension. Some whispered, some nodded in understanding. And I realized finally, I had reached a point I hadn't known I could. Control. Control over my reactions, my emotions, my life. Not control over them. That would be impossible, but over myself. And that was all I needed. Lily whispered one last time. I hope someday we can, maybe. I shook my head gently. Not this time, not now, not in this way, but you will learn eventually. You always do. I stood, slipping past them with quiet dignity. No yelling, no dramatic exit. Just calm, collected, and unshakable. Outside, I inhaled the cool evening air, letting it fill my lungs. My chest was lighter, steadier. The confrontation was over, and with it, a chapter of my life. I didn't look back, because I was finally in control, because justice, subtle but inevitable, had revealed itself, and because I had survived, stronger, wiser, and ready for whatever came next. I walked into the living room, sunlight spilling across the floor. The kids were drawing at the table. I paused, watching them. For the first time in months, I didn't feel the weight of despair pressing down. Hey, champ, I said softly to my son, Max. He looked up, surprised, then grinned. Dad, you're home early. I am, I said, ruffling his hair. How's homework going? Almost done, he said, beaming. Can you help me with this problem? Of course, I said, kneeling beside him. I showed him the solution, step by step, explaining carefully. He nodded, impressed. Thanks, Dad. Later, I found Emma in the kitchen, humming while making a snack. Hi, sweetie, I said. She looked up, eyes shining. Dad, you made it. Want to help me make sandwiches? Absolutely, I said, smiling. We worked together, chatting about school and silly stories. I laughed genuinely, feeling a warmth I hadn't realized I'd missed. After dinner, I called Tom. Guess what? I said, voice bright. The kids and I actually had fun tonight. Real fun. I haven't felt this in ages. That's great, Tom said, chuckling. I knew you'd get there eventually. Feels good to reclaim some normalcy, huh? It does, I said. I realized I don't need to dwell on Lily or Mark anymore. I just need to focus on my life, my kids, my work. Exactly, he said. You're stronger than you think. You've earned this. Over the next few weeks, I poured energy into my career. Meetings that once felt tedious now felt like challenges I could conquer. I stayed late when needed, not out of obligation, but because I wanted to excel. One afternoon, Anna stopped by my office. You've changed, she said, smiling. Have I? I asked. Yes, you're calmer, focused. You're in control, she said. I leaned back in my chair. It's been a process. I had to rebuild myself piece by piece, one small victory at a time, she nodded. Good, you deserve it. You've been through a lot. Thanks, I said. And you helped, even if you didn't realize it. That evening, I sat on the couch with the kids talking about school, hobbies, and plans for the weekend. Emma asked about my old job stress. You know, I said, sometimes life throws challenges at you. It can hurt a lot, but it can also teach you what matters. And right now, I know what matters most. The kids leaned against me, smiling. We love you, Dad, Max said. I love you too, I said, hugging them tightly. Always. Later, I called Tom again. I finally feel like I'm myself again, I said. That's fantastic, he said. You've done the hard work. Now it's time to enjoy the growth, the freedom, and the strength you've built. I will, I said. It feels empowering. To know I'm not a victim anymore. To know I can handle whatever comes next. Tom chuckled. And you will. You've come a long way, my friend. Don't forget that. I leaned back in my chair, thinking about the months of pain, sleepless nights, and uncertainty. I remembered the despair, the constant replaying of betrayal, the helplessness I felt watching Lily with Mark. It was vivid in my memory, but now it felt like a lesson, not a burden. I smiled faintly. Those months, they broke me. And yet, here I am, stronger, wiser, and finally in control of my own life. The next morning, I took the kids to the park. Max kicked the ball, laughing loudly, while Emma chased after it, giggling. I sat on a bench, soaking in the moment, feeling gratitude I hadn't felt in years. Dad, Max said, running over. We should come here every weekend. I'd like that, I said. We'll make it a tradition. Emma added, and maybe bring a picnic next time. Deal, I said, smiling. The air was crisp, the sun warm, and for the first time, I felt fully present. Later, at work, I received an unexpected email from a client. They wanted to meet, praising my performance and professionalism. I realized my focus and determination were not just personal victories. They were professional ones, too. Anna stopped by again. Looks like things are finally going your way, she said. They are, I admitted. It feels good to rebuild, to see progress, to reclaim what was almost lost. She smiled. You've earned it. That evening, I called Tom. I feel lighter, I said. I can enjoy the kids, work, and life without constantly thinking about the past. I feel like I've transformed. That's exactly what I hoped for, he said. You've done the work, faced the pain, and now you're free. Free to live, free to grow, free to be happy again. I am, I said. I'm not naive anymore, but I'm also not bitter. I've learned, I've healed, and I've grown. Tom laughed softly. Look at you, philosopher. You sound peaceful. I am, I said, smiling. For the first time in years, I really am. Later that week, I took the kids out for ice cream. We laughed, shared stories, and I realized how much I had missed this simple joy. No betrayals, no regrets, just us, together, happy, and free from past shadows. At home, I reflected on the journey. I had survived heartbreak, betrayal, and humiliation. I had faced despair and emerged stronger, wiser, and more self-reliant. My children were my anchor, my work was thriving, and my life was rebuilding itself from the ruins. I called Tom one last time that night. I feel complete, I said softly. That's the goal, he said, to reclaim yourself fully, and it looks like you've done it. I have, I said, leaning back, closing my eyes. I've transformed, not just from heartbreak, but into someone I respect, someone I can rely on, someone my children can rely on, someone I can be proud of. Tom chuckled warmly. Good. Keep building, keep laughing, keep living. I will, I said, and I will never forget the lessons. The pain, the betrayal. They shaped me, but they don't define me anymore. I looked at the kids, asleep on the couch, peaceful. A smile formed on my lips. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, sure, but I felt ready. Strong, calm, empowered, and free. For the first time in years, I was truly living again. I stood at the edge of the park, watching Max and Emma run ahead, laughing. The air was crisp, the sun warm on my face. Life felt lighter, freer, complete in a way I hadn't imagined months ago. Tom's voice came through my phone. So, how's the family day going? Perfect, I said, smiling. The kids are happy, I'm happy, and I don't feel that old weight anymore. That's exactly what I wanted for you, he said. Feels good to see you truly in control of your life. It does, I said. And the funny thing is, Lily and Mark, they've finally faced the consequences. Heard from Anna and a few colleagues. Mark's reckless investments have tanked. His arrogance has left him isolated. And Lily, she's humbled, grappling with regret. Tom chuckled softly. Karma caught up, quietly, but effectively. Just like we predicted. Exactly, I said. And I didn't have to lift a finger. Just patience, observation, restraint. That's all it took. I ended the call and sat on a bench, thinking about everything. The betrayal, the heartbreak, the months of despair, sleepless nights, and obsessive thoughts. And now, it felt like a chapter closing perfectly. Emma ran over, holding my hand. Dad, look, I made a big tower. Wow, that's amazing, I said, ruffling her hair. You're an architect in the making, huh? She giggled. Yeah, Max helped me. We did it together. I looked at Max, who grinned, proud of their teamwork. I'm proud of you too, I said softly. You're growing up strong, kind, and smart. Everything I hoped for. Later that evening, I met Tom for dinner. I wanted to celebrate, I said. Not the past, but the fact that I made it through stronger and actually happy again. Tom raised his glass. To you, for surviving, learning, and thriving. I clinked my glass with his. And to quiet victories, I said. The ones that don't need applause or spectacle. The ones that just happen. He nodded. You've earned every bit of peace you feel, and you've shown strength I think even you didn't know you had. We talked about everything. Work, the kids, small victories, and plans for the future. I realized that the emotional scars weren't a burden anymore. They were reminders of growth, wisdom, and resilience. A week later, I ran into Lily at a charity event. She froze when she saw me. I wasn't expecting to see you, she said softly. I smiled gently. Neither was I expecting to feel anger anymore. I've moved on, Lily. I hope you've learned from all this. I have, she admitted, eyes glistening. I never realized what I had until it was gone. I'm sorry. Truly. I know, I said calmly, and I forgive you. Not for you, but for me. So I don't carry the weight anymore. Mark was nearby, looking uncomfortable. He avoided my gaze. Yeah, he muttered. I messed up. You did, I said simply. And now you see the consequences. That's enough. He nodded quickly, shame evident on his face. I turned back to Lily. Take care of yourself. And remember, life isn't about shortcuts or thrills. It's about responsibility, honesty, and respect. She nodded, swallowing hard. I understand. Thank you for everything. Walking away, I felt a strange satisfaction, not of cruelty, but of poetic justice. No yelling, no humiliation, just truth quietly revealed. Karma, natural and fair, had done its work. At home, I sat with the kids, reading bedtime stories. Max leaned against me, Emma on the other side, and I realized how precious this simple peace was. Dad, Max said, you're happy, right? I smiled. Yes, Max, I really am. Can we have more days like this? Emma asked, eyes sparkling. Absolutely, I said. Every chance we get. That night, I called Tom. I think I'm finally free, I said softly. You are, he replied. And you've proven something important. Resilience isn't just surviving, it's thriving after the storm, quietly, with dignity. I've learned that, I said. Pain teaches, but it doesn't define. Betrayal hurts, but strength grows from it. And life is beautiful when you let go and move forward. Tom chuckled. Look at you, philosopher. Sounds like you're ready for anything now. I am, I said, smiling to myself. Ready for the future, for the kids, for life. Maybe even for happiness again. A soft knock at the door surprised me. It was Sarah, a colleague who had become a quiet ally over the past months. Hey, she said. I thought I'd drop by, just, to see how things are. They're good, I said. Better than I could have imagined. Sit, let's talk. We chatted, laughed, and shared small stories. I felt a spark of something new, not a replacement for the past, but a hint of possibility, a reminder that life could be bright again. Later, alone in the living room, I looked out the window at the city lights. Reflection washed over me. Betrayal, heartbreak, despair. And now, transformation, justice, peace. I whispered to myself. I've survived it all. I've grown. I've reclaimed my life. And with that, I finally let the last shadow of anger fade. The past had its lessons, the pain had its purpose, and the future was mine to shape. I smiled softly. Finally, truly free.